Hello all, Alison here. Welcome back to Words and Pictures for a few minutes of fun. It's a glorious spring day out there, even though there's snow forecast tomorrow. So I'm in the mood for some springtime backgrounds. I've got stamps and I've got some stencils around, but I think stencils might be a separate episode. And I just want to create a bunch of super quick, super soft springtime backgrounds. I've got distress ink pads and distress oxide pads on the table, and I've got a few of the distress watercolor pencils that might or might not get involved. I've got PaperArtsy Smoothy Paper, and I've got some super cheap kind of dollar store watercolor paper, which is nice and thick, but it certainly the textured side is not much fun to play on. I'm going to put these mostly on the non-textured side so that I get stamped images in amongst the looseness. It's going to be loose, it's going to be free, it's going to be, yeah, gentle. Let's start with this leafy one because it's gorgeous. There seems to be some ink on there. I wonder if that's archival or distress. Let's see if we can clean that up. I think it's fine. If it's archival, it won't be playing along by this point. It's all going to be fine. So, stamping platform, that one's the slightly wider one. That's not very good because I can't hold it. There we go. That'll do the job. So I'm going to working area, at least 10 centimeters square. Going to put on some distress inks, simple as that, just dotting them around these leaves. And I'm going to aim for various greens, I think, mostly for this first one, or maybe some antique linen in there. So I'm trying to sort of just keep half an eye on where I've been. Now this I can activate with some water, or I can activate it with a little bit of distress spray, just to get that lovely soft. Where should we go? We'll go for one of these first of all. So this is the smoothie paper, nice and soft, nice and easy, down it goes. And we'll see what we get, and then from there I can adjust. I don't know until I start really what I want to be doing. See, that's already beautiful, delicate, soft, simple. Let's put on a little bit of pumice stone, because I do love my greys. So I'm going to put that on a really soft wipe across the whole thing. If you dab down, you get lots of ink. If you do a sort of stroke, you'll get slightly less ink. So I know the whole thing is inked up this time. Might put in some salvaged patina on a few of these leaves. I might put in a little bit of broken china on a few of these leaves. And I might put in a little bit of, not a colour I use very much, Evergreen Bough. Let's see what we get on a few of these leaves. And then again, I'm going to spritz it with some water, get myself a nice soft print, and down it goes. And this time I'm hoping I'll have enough ink on the thing. Oh, see, I love that one with those grey tones underneath. Let's do a secondary of that because it's going to get us an even softer, more delicate affair. Down it goes. Beautiful. See the difference between those two, your first and your second, to just get that softness. I'm going to come back in with some of these blues and greens. So let's go with an all over, or mostly all over, old paper, which does have a hint of green to it. And then I'm going to warm it up with a bit of antique linen in places. I did quite like the Evergreen Bough. So let's give it another outing. Let's give it an outing in company with, maybe with the Salvaged Patina, because that does have a lovely warmth and glow to it. And then what I might just do is, with a distress watercolor pencil, I'm going to come in with something a bit more full on, maybe the Shabby shutters. Just going to dip that in the water here, get a little bit of movement between the pigment and the water, and then just add that in a few places on these leaves. Just letting that mix in. In fact, I might try and hit some stalks as well. There we go. what I always like to have around when I've got distressed watercolour pencils on the go is a little piece of paper towel, so I can just lie them there and they won't leave lots of mess everywhere. We put some on some watercolour paper this time. And again, I'm just going to go for a gentle spritz first off. See what I've got. Down it goes. Ooh, that's strong. See, that's the Evergreen Bough. And it, yeah, I don't know. It's not my favourite colour. What I am going to do is pick up some of that. Just as a kind of, yeah, not ideal for me. So I'm not, well, let's do a softer print and see if I like it better. Let's get one of those down there. I don't know, it's just not my favourite colour, Evergreen Bough. I don't know why, because I do love an Evergreen Bough. Oh, that one's I'm so glad I did the secondary. So having decided this is not really up my street, what I might do is then try and soften this. So I'll give this a spritz of water. These remain water reactive. They're not going to dry. And what I might do is try and pick up some of that colour and create another really soft print just onto the back here. May or may not work. We shall see. Well, almost nothing, but I think it has made that a bit paler, which is, for me, at the moment, a result. I can stamp something else over the top of that, so that's not a problem. That one is really pretty. So I might go just a couple more with this stamp and then move on to one of the others. Let's just wipe up that on there because we don't want it getting places. So I think I'm quite enjoying the gentle greens. I'm sure I had bundled sage here somewhere. Yeah, see, I've put a piece of paper on top of it. Let's go bundled sage, ink. And then what I'm going to do, if you've got the little ink pads, all of this kind of gets easier because you can add them with much more precision. I have got some mini ink pads, but they're in England waiting for me to be there. They're my sort of travelling affairs. That was Broken China Distress Oxide, and I think I'm going to put on some old paper oxide. So I'm sort of angling it, so I'm just hitting with the corner of that, and I'm not worried about contaminating. If I see that I've picked something up and I really don't want it there, I just wipe off the surface of the pad and that's all going to be fine. Let's give this a good spray because those colours are looking a little bit sort of lumpy in places, but I'm playing. This is what this is. I sort of want to, well, this one's here, so let's use this. There we go. This should be a really nice soft one. And with those oxides, it'll have a sort of chalkiness to it. Oh, that's gorgeous. You know what? I might not stop. I might not swap to any other stamp. I'm enjoying this one so much. No, we will, because I've got these lovely blossomy ones here. The blossom is still a way off here, but we do have little spring flowers popping up all over. Good. Maybe one more with this, or should we move on? I'm really enjoying it. So straight onto here, I'm going to put some Broken China. I'm going to put some, I liked that old paper thing that happened. Let's go bundled sage. So it's all soft colours you can see that I'm using. Let's put in a bit of antique linen oxide, and again that's going to give us a chalkiness. That did pick up some of those blues, so again just wipe the surface and it's all good. It's unlikely to contaminate in any meaningful way in any case. What shall we, maybe dip the bundled sage pencil, and again you just need to work it for a minute. You won't be able to go straight onto the stamp with the pencil. You need to get the tip of it kind of working a little bit, and the reason for doing it with the pencil as opposed to another ink pad is that, as you can see, I can aim at particular leaves or particular branches and just add that colour in a really specific way. This should still be quite, and having said that, I'm applying the ink in a specific way, or pigment in the case of the pencils, but I'm then going to go really loose with the stamping. So, you know, it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Keep it precise, keep it loose. they're both going to do lovely things. And as you can see with all of this, even I don't know precisely what I'm going to get when I peel away. But that's kind of the joy. We'll go for another of those. Whether you spritz or not again before your secondary one is sort of instinct. If you can see you've got plenty of ink still in place, you can just go straight for another stamping. If you feel like that ink needs a little bit of help, then give it a bit of water and you'll get, oh, I love that. Okay, let's do some flowery ones, because otherwise I'm going to run out of paper and I won't have done any flowery stamping. Grand. I'm going to move this, get some of these out of the way to dry, and I'll be right back. I think maybe I didn't mention at the start that these are Tim Holtz stamps. I should have said, I shouldn't have just assumed you recognise the packaging. Botanical and Batik. This one, gorgeous background stamps, and these ones are Vines and Roses. And yeah, I think we should probably go sort of blossomy before we go rosy. We might do some roses another day when it's June. Roses in June. Blossom this time of year. So this one, it probably is going to be a little bit more of the distress watercolour pencils, just because they allow you to hit those flowers where you want them. But I'm going to start with a sort of all over bundled sage, because that's going to start me off. And I sort of did a clean up attempt on the previous stamp. I thought I'd try one last stamping. Absolutely nothing happened, so I wiped it off, and those two are drying, waiting for me to stamp over them. So if something goes wrong, it really doesn't matter. I might start not with watercolor pencils. I might just see what I can do in terms of hitting those flowers with the antique linen. So again, I'm leaning the ink pad so that it's the corner of it going down, just trying to hit those gently in between. I'm quite enjoying broken china today. I mean, I always enjoy broken china. It was one of the very first distress colours I ever owned, and it's a treat. What I might do is pop on a little bit of bundled sage oxide as well. Again, just trying to hit the leafy bits, and you can see that's not always succeeding. So where it's hit that flower, I might just get my finger in and just take it away. Go back in with my antique linen. We might even go so far as to have some pink flowers. We'll see what kind of mood I'm in. Let's give that a nice wet spritz, because there's lots of stuff on there that wants to move around. And again, see what we get to start with, and then we can start getting fancy. So this one, oh, that's pretty. It's really pretty. I do want to just go with another softer version of that. It'll be very delicate because quite a lot of that ink got sucked into the watercolor paper. So that's the back of my brain is just noticing that if I stamp first of all on the smoothie paper, I come away with more ink left on here. But where I but it is, can you see those? It is still really beautiful. When I stamp first on the watercolor paper, that goes and sucks up that ink, and yes, you don't get as much of a secondary stamping with that. Let's go. I'm going to go with an overall antique linen, because I want to hit those flower heads with a bit of yellowiness. And then I'm going to come in with some watercolor pencil work, and I'm going to hit leaves with some of these greens. For the most part, leaves. I don't want this to be completely precise. So leaves and buds. I've also still got, what's this one? Shabby Shutters. Shabby Shutters is a good kind of acid spring green, that, you know, the start of the leaves, whereas bundled sage is a much softer, cooler green. So having the two of them, that gives you a really nice mix of greens on the stamp. And it, you know, you don't have to be speedy about this. I'm being quite speedy just because I don't want to think too much. I want to just let these things happen. But you don't have to be super speedy. And then what I'm going to do is grab myself maybe a little bit of scattered straw. Let's wet that a little bit and get that moving. So again, I can't expect it to work just by taking it straight onto that stamp. I need to get that tip to be a little bit juicy, and I'm just going to put a little bit of that right in the center of each of these. They've already got the antique linen on, so they've got a little bit of stuff going on. And yeah, I do want some broken china in the mix. It's sort of, although it's hitting the leaves, what it sort of gives me is that impression of the springtime sky. And that's a real joy, the blue skies and the sunshine at the moment. After winter, it's just magical. I'm pretty much in love with that. So I might see if I can get a secondary stamping out of it. Just the lightest of spritzes of water to activate whatever else is on there. Didn't really hit that corner. I can see there's still greens going on. Not sure what I've got in terms of yellows. But I like the soft yellows. And I think probably I'm not going to go to, given how happy that's made me. I'm just going to pick that up and show you again. Given how happy that's made me, I don't think we will be heading into pink today. There's another one, you see, and it is soft, so you get this look of sort of old, faded wallpaper. This is a beautiful stamp. I haven't used this nearly enough. So this is also part, I talked earlier in the year about using our less used supplies. Let's go. There's still stuff going on here, and I'm gonna kind of just be fine with that. Going in with old paper, like so, over the whole thing. And yes, it is picking up stuff, so yes, I will give it a little wipe. That was great. I wiped more on than I wiped off. Perfect. Let's get ourselves some bundled sage oxide, because I think that's going to be quite a nice soft colour to have around. So now these flowers have got a real greeny tinge, so I think we'll go for a sort of greeny bluey one that is not about necessarily trying to get naturalistic colours. It's just going to be pretty. And these flowers will be whatever colour they are. Let's hit that with a good bit of water and take it on to, oh, what I might do is, yes, just a little. And if that's dried off on the tip of the pencil a bit, I have still got, I said this was going to be bluey greeny, didn't I? But I can't resist that yellow that's sitting there. This is one of the only times of year. Even in autumn, it tends to be oranges, not yellows. Gold is about as far as I'll go in autumn. But when the daffodils and the crocuses and the tulips are out, I like the green ones. It's one of the few times that yellow ever puts in an appearance. So I need to make the most of it, really. There we go. Another one of those. I mean, it's barely there, but it's beautiful. I do sort of want a greyish version, just because I've got grey leaves. Excuse me. And you all know how much I love greys. So I'm going to take in the pumice stone, just on a kind of overall wipe. There it is. Again, just wiping it on as opposed to dabbing it on. These ones I'm going to dab, so I'm going to get in some salvaged patina around the place. I'm not going to go evergreen Bough because it scares me. Yes, let's have some broken china because that's making me happy today. And the blues and turquoises always look lovely together. And then I might bring in, what might be quite interesting is to come in with a bit of shabby shutters, I think. Just to sort of heat up those cool colours that I've been putting on there. This will give them a bit more spring joy. I mean, you know me, I do love a cool colour. And what I might do this time is grab, is the antique linen in this box? No, the antique linen is in this box. Excuse me, a bit of a frog in my throat today. Just working up that antique linen. And because there is pumice stone everywhere, I'm just going to hit a few of these flower petals with something a bit lighter, and it's mixing with some of that turquoise, and I think it's going to give me some really pretty flowers this time. Let's just hit those. You can see the colour that's mixing up here on the mat is becoming a kind of faded turquoise. I tell you what it's like my American Journey watercolor paint Pat's Coastal Blue is what that colour's like. One of my favourite, all-time favourite greys. It's a bluey, turquoisey grey that is just magic. You've seen it in multiple videos. See, look how pretty. And that, hopefully, I stamped that onto the smoothie paper. That hopefully will have enough of a something to give me a bit more. Or if you just feel like it isn't going to have enough, this is the point where you can just add a little bit more specific pigment just to help out what may be a slightly de-inked stamp. So it's keeping an eye on what's going on the stamp is what you want to do. Do I want a little bit of yellow? No, let's stick to what we've got. Let's try this one. A little spritz just to allow things to blend on there. And let's go down onto, this is the watercolour paper again, so I'm expecting it to suck up all that inky loveliness. Oh, that's a beauty. I really like those turquoisey flowers. Isn't that interesting? But if that's what makes you happy, that's what makes you happy. And therefore, that's what you should do. That's a lovely delicate one as well. The softer the better sometimes with some of these backgrounds. I'm just eyeing this one here, thinking those flowers are a little boring to me. So I'm going to take my scattered straw and just add a little bit of colour to some of these directly, just laying it onto the flower. Again, keeping it very loose. So just because you've done the print doesn't mean you have to stop playing with what's happened. So add that little bit of colour. It's quite fun on the buds actually, isn't it? And then I might just take a water brush and softly let that colour spread out a bit. But you can see I'm not trying to be perfect with this at all, because the stamping itself is far from perfect, although it's one of the neater ones, which is one of the reasons I want to mess it up. That's what's happening here. And then while that's still good, and yeah, you can do that as well. You don't have to apply direct from the thing. I can pick up the paint from the mat. So many different ways to go about this. So there's no one right way. There's playing and adding bits of detail and colour as you choose to. And the other thing we can do, of course, with what's on the mat here, or we put some extra on the mat here, is wind it all up for a lovely bit of spatter. So this is also going to create a softer look across this one that is a bit too precise. And the other thing I can do is give it a spritz with a bit of water, because they remain water reactive. That's making me a lot happier than the really precise one was. Here are these two bits of paper that got messed up. Tried something on them, didn't work. All fine, all good, in fact. So I'm just gonna have a final little stamp onto these, and then I'm gonna call it a stamping day. Let's see, let's go. I did enjoy the antique linen ones, so maybe let's wipe the antique linen over the whole affair. Gonna come back in and hit that with some broken china in places, because as I say, I'm enjoying that sort of, I'm the blue sky, I'm on the leaves but I'm the blue sky, really. I'm gonna come in with, yeah, let's have some Salvaged Patina Oxide. That'll be pretty. And you can see again, quite randomly, it's hitting some of the flowers. I'm fine with that. What I might do is come back in and again hit some of the flowers with the Oxide antique linen, because that's really lovely chalky pale. And of course it's the water that activates the chalkiness. So as soon as I spritz this, that chalky goodness is heading into action. You can see little corners of blue there, and they're gone. And they certainly won't impact the next time I use that. So let's see what we get. Oh, I think, no, I do want some greens. Maybe just the, where's old paper gone? I thought I had old paper here. Oh, Shabby shutters, too green. I want to stay softer on this one. I've got those lovely turquoises on there, the Salvaged Patina and the broken china. So let's stay with a softer green. So this is the bundled sage. Another little spritz, let things blend. Both of these that I'm using it up on are the smoothie card. See how pretty. See how pretty. And this one, yeah, I might just go straight in for another rather than spritzing in between, because it felt quite wet, that one. So just working on the wetness of that, I feel like I don't need to add more water to this, and indeed I don't. You can see there's a little bit of background colour from the previous go on that. Let's do one more with the scattered straw at the centre. One more, it'll probably be two more because that's what that's what it's going to pick up. Gonna go with a old paper across the whole thing. There's still some stuff going on here, so that's going to be what it's going to be. I did enjoy that, so let's hit a couple of those flowers just with the corner of this. That's nice, that's okay. A little bit of bundled sage oxide as well for a nice soft finish. Let's keep this one, let's try and keep this one greens and yellows. So going to come in with a little bit of this Shabby shutters and hit some leaves. Might just work up a little bit more juice. There it is. Hit some of the leaves. Did I get round to saying why you don't need to do this rapidly? You don't need to go that rapidly, because as soon as you spritz the stamp with water, that reactivates everything that you've got on here. So it allows you to play a little bit, look at where you want to add things, and don't panic about needing to get it all done really fast. These are all water reactive mediums, and they will stay water reactive here on the stamp. As you've just seen, if you spritz the card, even after they've dried, they stay water reactive. So there's no particular hurry, but as I was saying, I don't want to think too hard. I want to just let the thing that wants to happen and enjoy the result. Is that, yeah, let's see what that gets us. I'm going to go first onto one of these, hoping it'll leave me enough to then go on to one of the watercolour ones. Did you see how those oxides kind of went zoop? As soon as the water hit them, that colour gets that chalky, oxidised opacity to it, which is just so different from the translucent distress inks. See, I deliberately hit those little rosebuds with a little bit of extra scattered straw, and I'm going to do the same again. So I'm just going to top up those places where I want that intense colour. Where were the buds? Saw the buds. That's a bud, I think. There's another bud. There's a bud. Just letting those get a bit of life to them. Let's come in with a little bit of extra highlighting on some of these leaves as well. So I should be able to get two more stampings out of this with a bit of luck. Except, of course, if I go on the watercolour paper first, that's going to eat some of my ink. Maybe I don't press too firmly. Oh, but look how pretty. One more. Let's go down onto here. Well, maybe actually without spritzing at all. Let's see what we get. It's often one of my favourite prints is a not spritzed secondary, just fading in and out of consciousness. I think that's probably enough backgrounds to be going on with, don't you? Some of these may become tags, they may become card toppers. They're obviously going to have some other things added over the top. Stamping, stenciling, collaging, little bits of ephemera, all still to come, but that gives me a lot of lovely spring backgrounds to play with. I will, of course, list ingredients down below, so go and have a look there for stamp references and the colours and inks and so on that I've been using. Thank you so much for your company, as always. Do leave comments and questions down below. I love to hear from you, and happy crafting all.